So, we're now going to enter our final thoughts. We've gone over an hour. So
oh boy.
This is quite the discussion that we both had. So, for those of you who stayed, congrats.
Alright, so for our final thoughts, I guess we'll just talk about what we felt about the game, from the beginning, and end with what we think of it now from what we played from the demos. So, I remember back when they showed a concept art, it actually looked pretty cool. I remember they showed this image, I'll put it on the screen right now, of Beck find an enemy. It's basically a mock-up of what the game would look like. I remember a lot of people were saying, wow, that looks really good.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the game didn't really turn out in the end to actually look like the art, since it was just concept art. But people actually preferred it to be just like the art. Mm-hmm. And they also showed this beta, it wasn't even a beta, it was like a really early alpha build of the game that they showed. I think it was in the October, right after the Kickstarter happened.
Yeah.
They showed the first gameplay footage. I was blown away, honestly, with how good it looked. I was hyped.
Oh yeah, it was there.
Of course, as time went on, and of course of all the delays and all that, now it just looks okay to me. Nothing mind blowing.
Yeah, essentially, it looks very similar, and it's no longer blowing our minds. It's just mediocre. And it's not something you want.
Right.
Considering how much you've raised, and you would think that they would at least put a lot more into it. And they probably will. I mean, let's hope they do.
But of course, I'm not that big of a graphics person. So, there's other things that make up a game, obviously. So, obviously, the soundtrack, like we touched on before, I really like the soundtrack. Of course, the ending theme, that's the rap and all that. I'm not the biggest fan of rap music, but it's there.
I was gonna say that even though the soundtrack is all out there, I'm not gonna listen to it until at least the game comes out, just to basically not spoil myself. But the entire soundtrack is actually out on YouTube.
Yeah, like we said, someone ripped it.
So if you want to give it a listen, we'll probably provide a link or something to the playlist or whatever.
Have you at least listened to some of it?
I heard all the stages, and
yeah. So let's talk about stages. I think my favorite stage theme right now is My Number 2's theme.
Remind me who he is.
It's actually a she.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Some people actually asked me in the past, My Number 2 is a she. Yeah. That's what they said. Can't argue the developers.
Well, yeah, there you go. And there's your woman, so don't complain. And a lot of things, and this is what really bothers me about people complaining about this game, and they keep comparing this game to Mega Man a lot.
Right.
And yes, it is very heavily influenced to Mega Man, but do not expect a Mega Man game. And that's a lot of the big problems with people coming into this game. They're literally looking at this game and playing it like a Mega Man game, but it's not.
I'm glad you brought up that, actually, because that's one of the big points I want to make clear to everybody is going into this game, please, for the love that is the Blue Bomber, please forget everything that you've ever learned about Mega Man game going into this, because if you go in there trying to play it like a Mega Man game, you're not going to have a fun time, okay? Because the dash mechanic is the main game changer here. You have to stun enemies and absorb them if you want to take care of them effectively. Honestly, to me, My Number 9 is a speedrunner's game.
Yeah.
Everything from the level design to the actual game mechanics just screams speedrunning.
If anything, and this should really kick it into high gear for people, it's made by Inti Creates.
Mm-hmm.
What have they made?
Edge Striker Gunvolt, Mega Man Zero, Mega Man ZX, which are all great games for speedrunning.
Now, keep in mind, this game isn't as difficult as those games.
Mm-hmm.
At least from a person who's played the game before or can concept the grasp of common gaming knowledge, but it still retains its properties. Where yes, it does feel like it's very speedrunner. It's a very easy game to learn, but a very hard game to master type of deal.
So, I'll tell you this from my own gameplay experience from the demo. At first, like everybody, I went in playing it kind of like casually, pretty slow, taking my time, and just playing it sort of like a Mega Man game, but like I still knew my stuff. Because I played the beta before that. But I wasn't really having that much fun in the game until I started basically speedrunning and trying for the S rank runs. That was where the game started to feel exciting to me. It was like the thrill of just going through wave after wave of enemies, absorbing them all, getting 100% absorption, which is important to gain your combos. Like, I'll even play the footage of my S rank run of my number 3 stage during my talk here. But like, just if you even watch that run was fun. Like, it was a lot of fun. Just seeing how fast I'm going and pretty much blasting through everything. I can't express how fun that was, because it really was. That was where my number 9 hit its peak for me. And I think a lot of people, when they pick up this game, they're gonna feel the same way. Like, it's mainly a speedrunner's game. If you're not really into speedrunning, it might not be for you, unfortunately.
Like, you can still play it casually, but to really get the full excitement of it,
to get the thrill of it, that's pretty much how they expect you to play.
Also, if I answer the question, which would be my favorite theme, I would have to say number 5.
Number 5 is amazing too.
Like, in fact, you use that a lot. I've noticed.
Number 5's theme was the first theme that we pretty much heard at period. Because it was in the trailers.
Now, another thing too that I think is a very big plus to this game. A lot of games that have both Japanese and English voices, like, you can tell the Japanese voices are like the best, but the dubbing is
It's actually not terrible.
Yeah, this game's dubbing is actually, at least in my opinion, pretty good.
I think it's pretty good.
Like, they actually got it. They, like, for what the game is and how, like, the characters act, I think they got it nicely. And I'm one of those who sometimes will, like, change over to Japanese because, I don't like the dub. But this is actually one of those games where I would actually prefer to play dubbed over Japanese. So
for me, when it comes to dub versus sub, I'm a dub person, mainly because I like hearing things in my own language. I'm not that fast of a reader, so I can't really keep up sometimes, especially with like dialogue heavy animes and games. So I do appreciate dub. Of course, I do understand what some people are coming from when they say the Japanese subs are always pretty much superior.
Yeah.
Which is a Japanese thing, Of course they're going to be superior.
One of the complaints that people have, and this was especially notable on your Mighty Number 1's video, and a lot of people are complaining that these bosses are way too easy. And like this is where I actually don't blame you for having the Mega Man-esque aspect of it, because realistically speaking, at least in the Mega Man X games, the bosses were never that hard.
Yeah.
Like, they had a challenge to them, but obviously if you use their weakness, they were like piss easy.
Exactly.
Case in point, Spark Mandrill with a shotgun ice, forget it.
Yeah. Toe Man, not even without the special weapon, Toe Man is piss easy.
But yeah, like, for one, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a hard mode. Like, almost positive it's gonna be something like that. And like, obviously this is just a demo. They don't want to make it too hard to the point where, like, the casual gamer would be turned away and not want to play the game. And obviously for people like me and you, who's like gotten better at the game, like, obviously we feel like a little shafted with the difficulty, but again, it's just a demo.
Well, there is one thing that might fix that, is they are going to have hard modes in the game. And I believe one of the pre-order bonuses is the Retro Hero DLC, and what that does is actually make it so you have to do a no-hit run, basically. If you get hit once, you die.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty brutal.
Another really cool mechanic about the bosses is they act like the enemies of the game, where technically you can't kill them. They do blow up, but the game encourages you to dash into them, and that's actually how you have to lower their HP bar.
I will clarify this because someone did ask me very recently in the comments of my live stream, is if the dash mechanic is required for the enemies and whatnot. So for the enemies, you can just buzzard them down, just like any other Mega Man game. However, like I said, dashing into them gives you buffs and gets you going on your combos. So
they highly encourage it.
Highly encourage it. You know, that's how you get through the game faster and more effectively deal with the enemies as well. However, while for the regular enemies it's optional, for the bosses you do need to dash into them. Because if you don't dash into them, they actually start regenerating their health.
Another good comparison I can bring this up to is Mega Man X8, where if you bring them down to a certain amount of HP, they gain like invincibility, and they start doing their whole cycle of attacks, and you can't attack them during this time, and then their pattern starts changing up, and then you can attack them again, and it does it again for like when they're 1/3 down. This is kind of the same thing. You do a certain amount of damage, and then they start glowing like enemies who you would dash into. You dash into them, they lose that energy, and
yeah, their energy is not completely taken away until you dash into them.
And if you don't dash into them in time,
they can get their health back.
So essentially, you have to repeat the step, and I think that's pretty cool.
That's actually a beta difference I noticed is in the beta version they actually generated their health a lot faster than in the version that we got in the recent demo. So, and I will say that was a needed change because I did feel like in the beta version, especially with like Mighty Number 3, where she's like in the air all the time, and you can't really attack her that often, like she regenerated her health way too fast. So I'm actually okay with that change.
Yeah. Honestly, the stages, I mean, to me they're alright. Again, nothing too mind-blowing.
It's pretty much your typical water stage, your typical military base, your typical fire stage, you know.
Air stage, all that good stuff. And I think that's pretty cool. So, like, the game has a lot of similarities to Mega Man, yes, but it's not to the point where you can just pick it up, play the game as if it's a Mega Man game. You can. Like, go ahead and try, but you can't.
Right, like story-wise, character-wise, you know, some mechanics-wise, it's gonna be Mega Man-esque, but like when it comes to the gameplay, yeah, you're gonna have to rethink how you're gonna play.
And since we got the intro stage, how do you feel about it?
I think it does a decent job of explaining stuff, like what you need to do. Obviously, like, you start going forward. There's a lot of cutscenes in the game, by the way.
Yeah, this game does have cutscenes. Quite a bit of them.
Quite a bit. But anyways, yeah, you run to the first enemy, and it pretty much tells you how to, like, you know, do things. It's, you know, it's like an intro stage. A typical intro stage, you're learning how the mechanics work. So I think it at least serves its job as far as teaching you.
And they also show, like, the villain of the game, even though it doesn't outright say that he's the villain of the game, but they definitely portray him as the guy.
Pretty much.
Whether or not he truly is, we won't know until the game comes out. But, like, for what it is, the intro, it did its job. I liked it.
And the boss is not too bad, you know, it's pretty easy. So, like, if anyone is just, like, haven't played a lot of video games, I think they'll be okay for the most part, at least for that first stage.
Yeah, you can pick the game up, and you can play it casually, and you'll get better over time. You don't really have to, like, go, like, super intense on it, but you can, because, like, this game also caters to those gamers, and I think that's pretty cool too, because a lot of games, they either go one way or the other way. They either go very casual or very hardcore. not many games like split, like do it down the middle.
Yeah, I will say, when I had the beta version back in, it's like a year ago, right? Yeah, about a year ago.
Yeah,
it's been a while. So like when I had the beta version, I sucked at the game. I'm being completely honest. You'll even see in my blind runs, my very first time playing through the stages, I was terrible. Like I'll even forget. Obviously, one of the factors is I'm not good at paying attention to games and talking at the same time. That's a really big challenge for me. But even so, I think another thing was I went in playing the game like a Mega Man game, and I had to really get the mechanics down to actually get better.
Yeah. Like there were even a lot of comments were like, "Dude, you suck at this game." And even though they completely overshadowed the fact that this was blind, you literally just picked the game up and played it as is.
Exactly. Like I'm sure. Now, I'm not saying you'll suck as much as I do if you pick up the game without knowing anything, but it may be a similar experience for you. Not gonna lie.
So don't feel too discouraged, but definitely don't stop trying. You'll get the hang of it for sure.
Never give up. Trust your instincts.
So yeah, that was quite an ordeal with this discussion here, and I think this is a very warranted discussion because we've only really touched on like certain parts here and there.
Yeah, we would touch on it here and there during our LPs, but like only very briefly, because the difference between like a video like this and an LP is we're playing a game while we're trying to talk about the stuff, and oftentimes something in the game will interrupt us, and that's pretty hard to work around. But
at least we have like a very well, we did joke around here and there, but we were at least serious about the discuss. Basically, how two random backers feel about what's going on with everything here.
Yeah. So basically, in summary, we felt really excited at first, threw our money at it, and as time went on, our hype just pretty much died.
Like a lot of people, I've also been seeing a lot of hypocrites too. If you put money into this game and then afterwards you say, yeah, I knew this game was gonna suck right from the get-go,
no,
you're a liar.
Shut up.
You are a complete liar.
You got no.
It's not to say that we were swindled by what a lot of people like to call him Keiji Juafune, but we didn't see this coming. I'm pretty sure they didn't see this coming either. So this is quite the roller coaster ride for us, and I'm not gonna say that I hope that this company burns to the ground or anything like that. I hope honestly, they succeed.
Yeah, I wish the best for them. Honestly, I wish the best for them. I hope they can get their stuff together and actually start to do well, you know.
Prove me wrong that you're gonna do more after Red Ash and actually be successful at it.
Exactly. You know what, while we're at it, I hope Red Ash is good too. Oh yeah,
I hope it's not a complete disaster, although a lot of people are expecting it to be at this point.
Right, but I hope it's good.
Like, I don't blame them for the way they think, but I don't like to think of ill unless it's truly warranted. So that's basically all I really have to say about this subject.
Right, so anyways, like overall, I like the game so far. My number 9, that is. But I don't think it's going to blow my mind in the end, to be honest. Yeah. It's just going to be a somewhat Mega Man-ish game. But let's be honest, it was never going to feel the same as having an actual Mega Man game to begin with.
Exactly. And
it was never going to reach that hype. Honestly, looking back, I think our hype was too far out there in space.
Oh yeah, like I said, this Kickstarter was the perfect timing. We literally lost all these Mega Man games. Like, they were literally kicking Mega Man out to the curb. We literally were getting nothing from Mega Man. And then all of a sudden, this man just comes and says, hey, I'm going to make a spiritual successor. Will you help me? And we
Sign me up.
Like, obviously, a lot of people said yes. Like, let me read the backers like amount per reward tier. So there was quite a few tiers, and the one that has the most backers into it is the one I got, which was the $20 or more, which was just a digital copy. Mm-hmm. And that was over 34,000 people. That is quite a number. Like over 34,000 people put in just $20 in this game. So that right there tells you that people want this. So I hope everything works out.
I will say, I don't know if Concept's gonna be able to get away with another Kickstarter again unless they can win back people's trust. For sure. Like, I think they even mentioned a sequel in My Number 9 already, but I don't think either they're gonna have to fund that for themselves or not at all, because I don't think...
Or use the profits from My Number 9.
Yeah, because I don't think another Kickstarter is gonna work out too well for them, especially after seeing what happened to Red Ash. Like you said, you can only play the developer card once.
You can only play it once. After that, it ain't gonna work.
Right. That 4 million goal, though, honestly, that they barely made that goal. And the funny thing is, that online race battle mode of 4 million, that was the goal. That's causing all of this delays right now.
Oh yeah.
Sure, the first one probably would have still happened, but ooh.
My final opinion, and I might get some agreements, I might not, but I honestly think that they should at least release the game with single player only, because that is what we were promised at first.
I agree.
A single player experience of the game. Like, multiplayer is cool and all. Like, as you can see, like, this channel's went from like a solo channel to a group channel essentially, and like people are starting to catch on, so they're coming up with all these multiplayer games that other people can play and broadcast. But yeah, this multiplayer thing, while it's a great idea, is really kicking them hard.
Let's be honest here, we don't give a crap about the online mode. We just wanted the single player game.
Yeah, like it's just like it's a bonus. Like,
I'm not even gonna lie, like, I have been, looking at comments for the last while now. I have not seen a single person that actually wanted the online mode. That's how bad it is. So
I'm sure people want it, but
I'm sure there's
like not as much as people want the game itself.
Right.
And that's what we all want, really.
Like, if anything, online just feels like a bonus that they could have came out as DLC later for the people that really wanted it.
Just like patch it in for free later on.
Of course, there was something they said about that. It was basically like the console makers, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, apparently told them that they can't like put out an offline game and then suddenly make it online as a patch. Because there's something about like the quality tests that the companies have to go through. Of course, I don't know how credible that excuse really is, because look at Grand Theft Auto 5. It wasn't an online game at first.
And it had quite a bit of hiccups with its online at first. Same with Mortal Kombat X. Like, that netcode is horrendous. And it's to the point where they're literally going to make a whole new netcode for the console games. That's how bad it's gotten.
Seems like that's what they're doing for My Number 9 too. They're completely changing the engine just to make the online work the way they want it to.
Hopefully there aren't any more delays.
And hopefully the game is like 99% bug free at least, considering how much they're delaying it.
Oh yeah. Well, this was quite a journey for the both of us and for the viewers.
Yeah, so in conclusion, like I said, I think the game will be decent. It's not going to be bad. I don't think it's not gonna be X7 bad. That's for sure.
It sucks that it's going to have this feeling of it's going to be decent, it's going to be mediocre, but
It's sad, but I mean it's something.
exactly, it's something. And
At least it can sorta. It's just Mega Man itch we've been having. Oh man.
now, if they blow our balls off and this game ends up being amazing, then great. But my hopes, they weren't as low as when Red Ash happened, but they aren't high either, as of during the beginning. I would say it meets halfway. Like, I'm waiting for it, but I'm not like super excited for it.
Yeah, I just want my game at this point. I just want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do my OP like I promised,
Yep.
and leave it at that.
Basically.
Yep. I think I'll have fun with the game, especially when I'm going for the S rank runs. Like I said, that's when the game feels really thrilling to play.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When you're starting to play it seriously. Of course, I'm not like a super hardcore gamer, but it's kind of weird when a casual player says that the game is more fun when you play it more hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm by the numbers a casual gamer for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, something that I also do want to touch on, and this isn't necessarily about Mighty Number 9 or Red Ash, but it's the fact that these campaigns indirectly, in a sense, tarnished future Kickstarters and other platforms they use to fund games or anything like that. And that's a really sad thing, because while this game started like, at least Mighty Number 9, it started like really great. The fact that it's gone through so much crap, and then they did the whole Red Ash thing, like, it really puts a thought in your mind. Are other Kickstarters gonna be like this? Should we trust any of them now? And
this is around the time when people started realizing that Kickstarter is not a guarantee either.
Mm-hmm. This is when it really hit them like a rock to the balls.
Oh god, a giant rock.
Ugh.
But seriously.
But one of the big examples I can give is not sure if you guys heard of this. Pretty sure a lot of you have, but Indivisible. And these are from the guys who made Skullgirls, Lab Zero. And this campaign, well, first of all, this was on Indiegogo, not on Kickstarter. The biggest difference between the two is in Kickstarter, let's say you put in $20 on a project. If it doesn't get funded, the money isn't taken, so you basically lose nothing.
Right.
But in Indiegogo's, for an example, if you do put in $20, you lose that $20, whether or not the campaign succeeds.
Something you have to keep in mind, for sure.
Yeah. So that's like, I mean, there's obviously other differences too, but that's like the big difference. And the thing about it is, so this Kickstarter came about this game. It's a very Metroidvania-esque game, and has like all these RPG elements to it too. And you see the trailer that they have there, it looked pretty dope. And they one of the things that can be praised about the campaign is that they're very honest. They were very...
Yeah, they had a demo, didn't they?
This is the thing that blew people's minds. They had a prototype, and this prototype wasn't some little dinky prototype that was like
Red Ash had, or it's just like an afterthought.
Yeah, this was a freaking prototype. People were playing this all over. We're talking, and I'll name like a few, but Game Grumps played it, Maximilian Dude played it, the two best friends played it, a whole bunch of other people playing, and you can hear it in their voices and in their commentary praising it, of how beautiful and amazing it looked. So they had something to show for it, and it looked great. Now here's the thing though, They were asking for 1.5 million, and that's a pretty big number.
That's more than Mighty Number 9 asked for originally.
Yeah, Mighty Number 9 only asked for 900,000. They were asking for 1.5 million.
So yeah.
But the thing is, their budget was actually 3.5 million. However, they were only going to get 2 of that million if they reached the goal. So if they didn't reach the goal, they weren't going to get the extra 2 million they were going to get. And then this game would have been a goner. And the thing about that was really scary was this game looked great, but not many people were putting into the Indiegogo. It was like steadily, slowly climbing up. But as the deadline was coming up, it just wasn't going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really because even though they were very honest about their campaign, and they had like all these good credits for them and the prototype that really helped out, people were still having in their minds like all like the doubt and distrust that people have already experienced. And I'm pretty sure Mighty Number 9 or Red Ash isn't the only thing that's done this, but this is something a lot of people are going to remember, like at least commonly.
Also, it reminds me of an article I read around the time Red Ash was a thing. And this was written by someone that actually ran a Kickstarter campaign for an indie game. And they're talking about how you have to pretty much budget yourself when you're making a Kickstarter campaign. You gotta figure out, okay, we need this much for this and blah blah blah. And then basically what they had to do in this person's case was they had to ask for like the full amount of what they needed, right? Because they didn't really have any other form of income coming in. But then you look at Kickstarters like Yooka-Laylee, and you know, Yooka-Laylee is being done by the guys that worked on Banjo-Kazooie, and you know, they know what they're doing, and they have their own like other form of income coming in from like other deals.
Yeah.
So they didn't really need all that much compared to other indie games. Because Yooka-Laylee only asked for like 600,000 or something like that. Like, it wasn't that much.
Yeah, it wasn't too much, and it might have been a little more expensive for like us Americans, because they were asking for it in euros. It wasn't in American dollars.
Yeah.
But to end the whole Indivisible thing, it was like days before the deadline, and we were like, oh crap, this thing is not going to get funded. And at this point, this is where people were really pushing this to like, yo, we need to fund this now. And they extended it. I believe they extended it a week or two. So it did get funded, and we were like, yes. So its final budget, at least for Indiegogo, goes. They made a total of, if I can find this without coughing or anything, but to give a guesstimate, they made 19 million. So they made they had 4 stretch goals, and they only made 2. But regardless, it made it. But the point of this is the struggle that it went through. And looking at this campaign, it seemed like it should have been something that should have been funded within a week. But because of all that controversy that happened with other stuff, it's like people don't even want to get into that anymore.
It's not even just a controversy, it's because at this time there was like a Kickstarter every month basically, and people were getting sick of paying up money for all these Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Yooka-Laylee, Bloodstain, all this, Shenmue too. You know, you're paying up for like all these Kickstarters. Like, why would you want to add more onto your bill? So that's what really killed it too.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure from this point forth, there will always be doubt. At least people will be more careful with what they go into, and it probably wouldn't even been like that should Mighty Number 9 or Red Ash have not gone this route. But, you know, things happen for a reason, and, well, here we are.
Lesson learned, I guess.
Oof. Man, this is quite the discussion.
This was the most epic discussion ever, man.
We've gone over an hour and a half. So, instead of taking up any more of your time, thank you for hearing us.
Thank you so much.
We hope you liked our insight, and if you have any discussions or comments, go ahead and put them down, and we'll have a little discussion about it. And
right. So, like, we're probably not gonna do this too often now, but if you do have anything else, you know, any like news or anything that comes on in the future you really want us to talk about, yeah, just let us know, and we'll say, hey, why not?
Yeah, if it deems interesting enough, then sure, why not?
Right, like, we're not gonna come out of the blue and say, okay, so now we are gonna have a discussion on ukulele. Yeah.
And I hope they aren't gonna be this long either, because holy crap, I didn't expect it to be this long.
Yeah, so, but yeah, we're pretty much gonna stick to topics that you guys would really want us to talk about, or at least that you guys would want to listen to. You know, pretty much like maybe Mega Man news, stuff like that. Somewhere around that realm. Well, with that, thanks so much for watching, guys. It's been quite epic for our first episode of this series.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely, like TGP said, hope you enjoyed our unique perspective at this. You know, it's just two guys that threw money at this game.
Yeah. Basically, an opinion about how two backers feel about this game and the whole roller coaster ride.
Oh yeah, it's been quite a roller coaster ride, man.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Nobody could have seen this coming.
No, you can't even make this stuff up, dude.
No, you can't.
I don't think even the developers knew this would happen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you were even saying this before we even started. Like, you have to be extremely skilled or just ridiculously lucky to like have the hype train crash like this.
Oh yeah. Well,
or should I say unlucky?
Oh yeah. Well, guys, it's
been real, man.
It's been TGP.
It's been ShadowRock.
Thanks for listening, and have a wonderful day. Peace out.
Rock on, everybody.